All right.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, establishment of a quorum. Township Board Member Summers has sent his regrets, but we do have two, so we're good for taking care of business. Next item is consent agenda, minutes of the March 5th meeting, and then credit card statements.
Yes, and I don't have any questions or adjustments, so I'll make a motion that we adopt the consent agenda for today.
And I second it. All in favor?
Aye.
And department heads.
Township assistance for March numbers have been included. Everything is flowing smoothly. We did find out the middle of this, or towards the end of this month, the state for your public assistance for your utilities, the deadline is April 20th. So we have been referring a lot of people over to that program to help them pay their bills before we will pay the utilities. So that's why that number is a little lower than what has, because they have been paying a majority of those bills that we send over to them. So
One thing that I noticed on this one is the number of non-cooperative applicants seems to be a little higher than normal. And is it just because people are not aware of what we can do or not do? Or?
it was a little bit of both. We had some people asking for things that we don't cover. And then there was some that just thought it was too much and didn't want to bring us in the stuff that we needed. A lot of it's bank statements. Once you start asking for those, a lot of people are like, well, why do you need that? Well, we need to know how your money's being spent and what's coming in and all that other stuff to make sure that it's being used wisely and not just being blown. And then you come in here and asking for help.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand the reason
Yeah.
for the question.
Yeah, we did have a lot of that in March. Yeah.
They got to the point of applying without being aware of that.
Yeah.
And I always thought that this time of the year with refunds, that some of the people would be living off of their tax refund check, not
Yeah.
looking for assistance.
Yeah. Well, I think that is why some of the assistance we've given out was so, I mean, we only approved 7 out of the 19 applications. And some of that could have been because they were over income due to their federal tax refunds and state tax refunds.
Any other questions, Dave?
No questions.
All right, right on.
Human resources, you can see in the month of March, we did 5 hires, 3 camp counselors, 1 extended care, and 1 firefighter. There was also 5 terminations or resignations, a paramedic, 3 extended care, and 1 camp counselor. Any questions about the HR report? All right, we have started hiring for the pool. We started rehiring. So you'll see that big jump in April, at the end of April is when those numbers should start popping in. So on the May report, you should start seeing those guys coming on board as we're starting to train and get them back in the swing of things for the pool.
All right, we've got some fun stuff in the month of March. We're getting towards our busy season. Just like Ashley mentioned, we've already started rehiring for lifeguards. We've already done our recertifications, and then we've done some new hire classes as well. We will start officially hiring for concessions. I don't think we need to hire any new concessions, but we'll start doing some retrainings just because we have some new food items. We always add a couple new food items. The pools have been painted. They look beautiful. I included some pictures of them in here. And then we just started filling the pools today. We always fill the pools a little bit early so that we can regulate temperature. We can get all of our health department approvals. We also have to mess with a lot of the features. The spray features have to be adjusted each year. And then we always like to test out our heater to make sure it's ready to go. For PCAR, we introduced a new creature this year. We added some live coral to our glow lab in our saltwater tank. We applied for another grant through the Parks Foundation. We want to bring in some big speakers to do kind of a world nature education talk. One of those features includes the whale mobile and then also a 15-foot planetarium. And so should we receive this grant, we will be able to provide that for free to the community, and that'll be anyone in Hendricks County. And then Indy, our axolotl, he has been quarantined for the last 6 months due to a skin infection. We were able to get the skin infection under control, get his water parameters back, and he is back in his tank and thriving. And everyone is so happy because we get so many people who visit the park looking for that axolotl. So they are happy to see him in the Glow Lab again. For programs, we did our first St. Pat's Dash, and that was very successful. We also got two big donations. We got Niagara Water donated all the water that we'll need for our spring programming, specifically kegs and eggs. And then Cabela's donated 20 different fishing poles and also fishing tackle because we're doing some fishing for fun programs throughout the summer. We are ending our Easter events this year with Kegs and Eggs, our adult Easter egg hunt. And then we're bringing back several events to the pool this year. And one of those is Moving at Murphy, which is a water aerobics program. And so we've gotten a lot of positive feedback about that. So I'm excited for you guys to see some of that new programming coming. For maintenance, we have met with the asphalt companies to do the resurfacing over at the Paul Park area. And then we have all of the concrete poured for our outdoor putt-putt. We installed a backdrop at our archery range to just an extra precaution for any arrows that may fly higher than the hill that's already there. And then we also have been working on a new maintenance management software. This is just to help our maintenance staff get a little bit more organized, but also something new about this feature is that we'll be able to put QR codes around our parks so that patrons can actually scan the QR code and submit when there are broken items on our playgrounds or if there are downed trees on the trails. So it'll just give a little bit more interaction between the community and then also our maintenance staff. This year was our first spring camp in our Explorer barn. It went really great. We've added some cute little updates to it. It looks really nice. The kids had a blast in there. And then we have been asked by Lily to up our numbers from 200 to 300 this year. And that's why you'll see in the salary ordinance here soon the change that we made there just to include some more camp counselors. And then we're actually adding additional weeks at our preschool camp because we have already sold out of the 2 weeks that we had for our preschool camp at the Nature Center. So we're going to be adding additional weeks for that as well. For EEC, our staff numbers look great. We're working on handbook changes that'll be going over to legal. And then we're going to open up for registration in May, which we do every year. That way it gives parents an opportunity to sign up for the dates before school ends. And then as far as marketing is concerned, our social media numbers are exploding right now. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback on our new website. We've been doing a hiring campaign for our camp counselors and also Murphy. We have a lot of fun Murphy videos coming out here soon. And then something new this year is we will be including a summer recreation guide. We'll have printed copies of those, and then we'll have digital copies of those as well. Do you guys have any questions about the report or the financial statement?
You said you're as far as staffing for Murphy,
we're done with hiring for that. We may open it up in June just because every now and then at the end of it, there are a few people who don't pass their lifeguard certification test that they have to do in the water. But it's looking really good. We shouldn't have to do any more hiring for that. Right now, we're really focusing on our camp counselors.
Because I noticed in Facebook that another local
Yes.
water park is
Yes.
just beginning
Yes.
to hire their staff.
We have a couple water parks too that we're good friends with. And so once we reach our number and we still get people coming out to us, we kind of push them that way as well. And they kind of help us out too. Any questions? All right. Thank you.
That was tag your it. All right. I'm going to be short. You know what? It's been so long since we've had a meeting. The mics weren't even synced anymore. We have to warm these things up. Quickly and most importantly, we've been meeting with and talking to a lot of our state representatives, and we have some key meetings coming up. Representative Thompson's been very responsive and very conversational about what he's put out. He's also been very open to some input for corrections of what's been put out to make sure that we don't not only affect public safety, but, you know, last night in our conversation, he even talked about the township and talking about some considerations that have to be made to put all things on the table and the reforms that have been proposed, because none of that's going to happen overnight. And they've already moved it a year out. They know that the implementation of a fixed rate is going to take time to implement. He continually talks about the idea of a $3 cap, but knows that's not going to happen overnight, and that's going to be a multi-year implementation plan. Anxious to hear his response. As soon as we get out of this meeting, I'm going to call his legislative aide and speak with them to coordinate calendars, and we're going to set a meeting up pretty quickly at the State House and meet with multiple representatives in a roundtable discussion. It'll be at least be Chief Phipps and I, Chief Porter, if he doesn't want to stay back and run the township. A lot of times he'll give us the info, but he'll exempt himself from those meetings. I think they wear him out. But and then I'll probably bring Chief Duncan along with me as well. So I'm going to try to hit him up when he gets out of a meeting. And again, those are ongoing and current. We had Representative Schunkweiler out of Hamilton County come by. She had a meeting at 3:00 that afternoon when she showed up at 1. Drove through Avon, and I think she was pretty surprised to understand the scope of the township. And that not all townships are one size fits all. And we talked about some of the bills that she authored, pushed, and some were successful, and what her intents were from the beginning, what her intent is in the future. And then we talked about Washington Township in general and how we're just a little bit different. And I think she was pretty surprised to see we're in the top 30 of the state whenever it comes to townships as compared to counties as a whole. As a whole. So we're not just top 25 in townships, we're in the top 30 in counties, just with the size of our township. So that meeting she had at 3:00, she canceled, and she ended up staying with us till about 4:30, I think, right? So yeah, we ended up spending another hour and a half on top of it because there was some good conversation. Gave her a copy of the annual report. We talked about responsible spending, talked about municipalities versus the townships. And even though multiple trustees end up in the news at various inopportune times, it's not a thing here, right? It's not the way we operate, and we have all the safeguards and responsibilities in place. Walked her through some of the firehouses and asked to point out the impracticality of what we've built, including Station 5, and there was none. And it's practical space for the operation and service to the community, and that's what we're dedicated to. And I think she walked out with a clear understanding of that, and I'm pretty sure she's going to be in some of the meetings that we have with the other representatives I've mentioned earlier. So see how the elections go. A little premature before the election to have these conversations, but that's the most important thing that we're doing right now outside of our members responding to the community day after day and finishing Station 5 and working on the recruit class that's finishing up. A lot of moving parts. So it's been 3 years of not a lot of breathing. That's all in there under training. You can see what the recruits have done, what they continue to do when it gets into EMS. When we look at EMS training, you guys can read some of that for yourself. But additionally, it says 5 recruits from class 2501 successfully passed the National Registry EMT exam. We only had 5 that needed to take it out of the 12. The 5 additional passed it on their first attempt. So we're excited about that. Sometimes it does take multiple attempts. They're allowed up to 3 before remedial training. A lot of times we get to that point, we don't have time because the recruit class doesn't stop and wait for them. So we hit that 3rd time. If they get to remedial training, we usually cut them loose and tell them try again. Thanks for playing. Didn't have to do that. And moving into fire class, they continue to perform at a high level. None of them year to date
since classes started has ended up in my office. That's always a very positive thing for them and me. And they continue to perform at a desirable level. This group is pretty good at the performance part. We got to bring them together in the teamwork part. So other than that, everything's going well. Fire prevention and public education continue to perform. I've leaned on fire prevention as understanding the assignment from day one. They continue to do well. The third person has made a huge impact in hitting all the businesses in the community. They continue with that third person to perform at a high level and a high percentage. The reason that's important is not only for community safety, but firefighter and EMS safety, to know what the hazards are in a lot of the businesses. They do a good job of putting communication out, so we all know that. On to the runs at the end. One of the conversations we've talked about since getting the financial report from Jeff Peters, it's kind of a bittersweet double-edged sword for the board and us in the office, is right now the fire department is looking more and more stable. Whenever we look at the laws, look at the things the lawmakers are willing to listen to, Chief Phipps and I communicate probably more than we should. Usually it was on the phone. His youngest daughter knows it's me, along with anybody else in the house. So they just walk in and say, "Tell Danny hi." I'm like, "How they know?" He goes, "They just know." Evidently he's not on the phone much unless I talk to him, but we've shared a lot of ideas, and they've started to listen. And a lot of that started, I think, even more so at Fire Ops. Fire Ops put a little bit of perspective in some of these unfunded bills that they put out. And Chief Phipps has looked at some of the laws and found some potential solutions. He's brought them forward to Bellamy, and now we've started to put those on the table. And we're going to explore those a little bit more, as long as we can keep them from putting them underneath the tax caps for anybody else that might be able to utilize these different CUME funds that can be used for line of duty deaths. We might be able to use them for line of duty disabilities as well, but we'll see if they're willing to change that verbiage. Anyway, as we move forward, the very end of the finish line, the all-encompassing question of when does it stop? When does the hiring stop? When does the spending on the training facility stop? Which that might be spinning up again with the amount of emails I'm getting today, and since I've been sitting in this room. It stops in about 15 to 20 people. That's the proper service per capita that we would owe to the community at the size it is now in this whole game of catch up that we've been playing based on the paralysis of the 1% tax caps that hit back around 2010. And that 15 to 20 people would require additional space. That additional space is already planned with the building of Station 2. And that was in the opening paragraph, where we're going to start going through the RFPs for the architecture. I know you've heard that meeting after meeting. Chief Phipps has had a series of fortunate/unfortunate events, plus just vacation in general, but we will get on that now and get the meeting scheduled. But once that's done, and we've determined, Steve, that you would kind of be on that board with us to interview them. Is that right? Okay. Once that's done and somebody's selected, we'll start looking to get a contractor involved pretty quickly and drill down that price. Right now, the numbers we threw out tend to fit the financial plan, but those numbers shouldn't be that high. We proposed 14 million. We know we built our station now for about 9.2. So we should be able to be somewhat comparable. We know where some cuts that we can make to the building are without sacrificing quality and longevity. We'll work on doing that and see where we can massage that price point. Okay. And if we can come in that price point, it's even the conversation I have with Representative Thompson. I said, "I want your opinion. I know you're not the advisor. The advisor says this, here's our numbers. What do you think? Because here's our conundrum with Station 2, the way it exists, the needs of the update, what the studies have shown, the feasibility studies on remodeling. What would you do?" He said, "I'd rebuild on today's dollars, because tomorrow's dollars aren't going to get any more expensive. And that bond, if you do it on tomorrow's dollars, are going to eat into your future cash flows, and you don't want them to do that until we go rate based." He goes, "But even when you go rate based, if we're outside his plan, there'll be a timeline to allow that debt to be paid down to get within the dollar amount of his rate based plan." And I said, "Okay, so if you were king for a day, that's what you would do." And that was his feeling. And again, that's not advice. That's not anything else. That's him listening to only what I told him, taking only the information that was shared the way he understood it, and just giving an opinion. But it also appears to be the opinion of the financial advisor on the report that it's a feasible and doable thing. But again, the caution is, they're going to hire people to fire them. The firehouse isn't contingent on hiring. Hiring is contingent on the firehouse. So they're not codependent. The firehouse needs to be redone. Another location validates Station 4 and it distributes the workload a lot better. It also allows us, if we can hire the people, when you look at this run sheet on the last page, bottom right, you'll see ladder 144 has done 299 runs. They're nearly on par with most of the engines. When you go up to the very top of the page, on the top right corner, you'll see ladder 144 had 139 runs. Ladder 141 had 68. All the engines were in the 150 plus. And the medic units as well. It's nearly outrunning medic units. Medic units are running at a cost of about $300,000 to $400,000. That ladder's running at a cost of over $2 million. That's a lot of money to throw down the road every time we get a call, right? But the way we are, the number of bays we have, that's where we're at. That's where we're living, and that's the way we have to be set up. With the other engine, I've had some calls back from some residents in the non-hydrated areas since we've redone our ISO. They and some of their neighbors have had some significant savings since the re-rating of the rural non-hydrated areas. They've communicated that back. They haven't given exact dollar amounts back other than our savings have been significant. That's at ISO 2. And this is what we've shared with the lawmakers. You're giving decreases on increases, whatever the heck that means. We're just giving savings. So when you invest in public safety, that's investing back in the infrastructure of the community. And that investment gives money back. And I think that's a conversation you and I had, Jeff, is what does it mean to invest in public safety? Well, what it means is real savings to the community outside of their tax dollars, which are nickels and dimes. Oftentimes I walk in based on a friend from South Florida. They do fee-based fire protection. And I think their houses are about $750 per year for fire protection. So I'll often ask a resident, let's get rid of property taxes. Would you pay $700 a year for fire protection? Most say yes. Then you ask them to go back and look at their fire rate, communicate back to me if they really think that's reasonable. They usually come back with a touche because they didn't know. And it's a heck of a deal what their property taxes are versus going rate-based and what it would take to sustain. So that's all I have. The legal stuff's really what we're doing. Everybody right now in the department's focusing in their realm. We're focusing outside the department, right? So like the trustee said, he's responsible for everything outside the walls. I'm responsible for everything inside the walls. But it takes work for the things that are affecting us from outside the walls for us to be present and get in those conversations. What'll be coming up, and it'll be mentioned later, we have our awards banquet coming up next Saturday. I'm going to say entertainment is determined per an email, but undetermined based on communication. But outside of the entertainment, listen, it's about awarding people, and then we have some guest speakers that'll be there. So we look forward to that and look forward to having you if you're able to attend. It should be a nice event. We've also got a couple of different awards from the state that we've not ever given out before that we've started exploring based on some conversations between Chief Phipps and I. So that's all I got. FDIC is coming up. I know that's a big deal, but thank you. Any questions?
Technology's great when it works.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get there. Every year, seems like it's a competition which one of the department heads is going to bring the salary resolution back up mid-year. And this year, Laura and the Parks Department gets the prize for being the responsible party. No, as was mentioned in the Parks report, I guess let me back up beyond that. So a couple years ago, as you probably remember, Laura and her team were able to work out a deal where we started providing service to Eli Lilly and Company, which obviously is a major employer in the city of Indianapolis, and a lot of residents that work for them live out here, and since then have continued to grow and develop that relationship to the point where they are asking for added service from our group, because we are offering them a quality product, and that's what the salary resolution is today, is to add the counselors needed to continue to add services that they're requesting from us. It is a good relationship that we have formed with them. They are obviously happy with the end result, the end product that we are able to provide, and that's proven by the fact that they are looking for us to add more. And so that's all that this is today. The change, as you'll note in your packet, is just adding additional counselors that were not on that resolution when it was approved previously. So no rate changes, nothing like that, just the number of counselors available for us to be able to hire is what we're looking for today.
Very good.
Yeah, I had no.
I don't have any questions, and so that's just the highlighted ones. That's where the edit was.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Right, so, I mean, this is gonna be covered by additional revenues, so there's really, it's a easy decision on my part, so.
I agree. Being a resolution, though, we will ask for the board to motion and preferably approve that for us.
Okay. I will make a motion for resolution 041626-01 for amending the salaries for the township.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on, if you don't mind me talking while you sign the resolution there.
Okay.
We have the MOU with the town of Avon for a trail connection. We were approached by the town with the Easton Gray project. They are looking to continue what their goal for a lot of years now has been, is to interconnect the town and the township parks that we have in our area through an ever-growing trail system. And the next leg of that trail system does involve property that runs at the eastern edge of our Paul Park, and then it ties into the township park as well. So the MOU that you have in your packet is basically a copy of a very similar MOU that was done for the White Lick Creek Trailway that was approved by the Township Board several years ago. Basically just spelling out responsible parties for the trail, responsible parties for maintenance and upkeep. Essentially, this is a town trail, and so this MOU is essentially offering them the opportunity to create that trail, and then from this point moving forward, take responsibility and maintain that trail as well. Any questions about that document that was in your packet?
I guess it's the MOU kind of spells it all out. So there is no easement or anything like that we're doing. Okay. It's our property.
Still our property. Their trail just happens to run across it.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Very good.
And what we're looking for on that, that's not a resolution, but if we could just get a vote of approval if you are so inclined. And then Steve, I'll have you sign this if that's the case once we're done.
Okay. Yeah.
Any further discussion?
I don't have any further discussions. I guess there is no number on that, right?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, it's not a resolution.
I'll make a motion that we approve the memorandum of understanding with the town of Avon for this new trail.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
The next two items have already briefly been brought up, but I did want to make sure that they were kept on your radars as well. But we do have the awards banquet for the fire department that's coming up. So hopefully you are able to attend that. We have a lot of individuals that work for us that do a lot of great things throughout the year. And this is an opportunity for us to recognize some of the fantastic things that they're out there doing day in and day out. And it is a nice event. And again, hope you are able to join us that evening. So whether or not we have entertainment, it'll still be a fun event. So
Long as there will be cake.
That's right.
There will always be cake.
yeah,
Always be
there will be
There's
cake.
There's a lot of events that deserve cake.
And there'll always be cake at those events, and for reasons that are not public that
Today,
Miller's very aware of on why there will always be cake when I'm here.
today for Danny's birthday, happy birthday, Mr. Fire Chief. Today for Danny's birthday, there was cake donuts. So
Okay.
Oh.
if that counts,
Good.
we had that this morning. So
Loggers was properly.
there was.
There you go.
There was cake, donuts. So, next on the agenda, moving on, FDIC. So as you've heard me mention before, the largest fire department conference in the world is in the city of Indianapolis this next week. Each of the board members has passes. If you care to attend this event, you are welcome to do so. Mainly Thursday, Friday are the big exhibit days. Monday, Tuesday are big training days. Wednesday is a large classroom training day. Thursday is a large classroom training day, but at noon, the exhibits open. And the exhibits are what takes up the entirety of the convention center, the road that separates the convention center and Lucas Oil Stadium, as well as the entirety of Lucas Oil Stadium will be filled with different vendors in the fire and EMS world, all wanting to show off the latest and greatest new products. So if you have any desire to get down there to take a look at some of the different equipment that's available, we can certainly find opportunities that if we can find somebody that can make it down there with you, we can even give you a little bit of a tour guide to kind of help you navigate the area and then explain some of what it is that you're looking at. As you all know, seeing the budgets and the different things that come across and come through these meetings, there's not much of anything in the fire and EMS world that is inexpensive. And we do try to provide the best products that we can so that our employees can provide the best service that they can to the community. This is a prime opportunity to get downtown and take a look at all the different technologies that are available, the new stuff that is so new that it's not even readily available to the different departments, but things that are being tested out and trialed. And then some of the things that you'll probably recognize as equipment that we use here on a regular basis as well. So again, you have passes. You're welcome to attend on your own. If you would like to see if we have any individuals going down there, feel free. I'll nominate the fire chief. Feel free to reach out to Danny and coordinate if we are sending a group down and you just want to tag along and hang out with those guys for a little bit. He can certainly help let you know any time frames that might be happening. So any questions about any of that?
No, I guess any guidance on parking, if you do go on your own, it's just, you kind of have to
Find a garage and wish
find a
for the
garage
best.
and pay whatever they're charging.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Or just plan on walking, park somewhere that is a little more reasonable and get your steps in for the day.
Right.
But with an estimated 40,000 firefighters that come in from around the world, downtown's going to be a happening place. So
Yeah, I guess if the weather's decent, I mean, like the zoo parking lot typically available?
I believe so. I mean, but that's dependent on what's going on at the zoo as well, because, you got field trips and everything else that happen. And sometimes that parking lot gets pretty crowded. So
Okay. Very good.
the last thing that I have under new business for you is we do have a bank renewal. Our rate is expiring at the end of this month. And so Everwise, who we have historically banked with, has brought to us some different options. Statutorily, I am not allowed to sign contracts that extend beyond my term of office. And so I wanted to make sure that we got these rates in front of you all so I can get an idea from the board on the direction that you would like for me to go. And I will happily get back with Everwise to let them know what that decision is moving forward for the next 12 to 18 months, depending on which option we end up going with here. If you care to have my opinion on the matter, talking with Ashley, just conversations we've had here within the office. Option one is the variable rate. The variable rate is already lower than the two fixed rates that are in options 2 and 3. I'm not interested in the variable rate. My fear is the amount that it's dropped since the last time we've had a rate renewal. My fear is it might continue to trend that way and the variable rate's just going to continue to go down. I would prefer option 2 or 3 where we're actually locking in at a little bit of a higher rate, a little bit lower than where we are right now today, but higher than that variable rate that is being offered at the same time. Again, just my opinion. I'm certainly interested in any thoughts or ideas that either one of you have as well.
No, I like these, I guess, options. I guess option 2 with the 12-month. I mean, we can go with that because it doesn't extend. It would be just for this calendar year.
It would be until this time next year. It'll be until
okay.
April of next year,
Okay.
which is why I didn't want to sign this on my own. I wanted to get board's approval
So
just
we
to
can
make sure.
approve it even.
Yes,
okay.
with the consensus of the board, we can extend beyond the term limit. I just can't make that decision on my own.
Okay.
I shouldn't make that decision on my own.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah, Dave, I'm a little bit more of a pessimist on what the long-term rates are going to be. And
Okay.
what I'm seeing with working with some of the banks, I think I would lean towards option 3 with a 3.8 over 18 months.
I see. And I'm based on, you know, those that are in the know and kind of keep their finger on the pulse of those things. I'm fine with that.
So what I would ask is if just so we can record it in the minutes, if you don't mind, go ahead and giving me a motion and approval for option number 3 there, if that's what you are choosing. Again, we can record that in the minutes so it is documented that I, in fact, did not make that decision on my own.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion that we recommend option 3, fixed rate of 3.8% for 18 months with Everwise.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Public comment.
Happy birthday.
Wishes to be heard. I do have one thing. I had the opportunity to attend an Avon High School TEDx program last night at Hendricks Live. And the presentation there was it was like a normal TEDx program, but had let's see, four high school students, maybe 5, several involved, but that were presenters. The rest of them were adults, and it was a fantastic program. There was some really, really sharp individuals that were involved in making that presentation. Avon should be proud. So anyway, I just wanted to take this opportunity to pat them on the back for a job well done.
Yeah, I've talked with Dr. Wyndham and several of the school board members over the last few years, and every time I attend a different presentation through our school system, I'm continued to be amazed at the opportunities and the things that they're doing. In my mind, it's not all that long ago since I was in high school, 30 years ago now, but in my mind, it's not been that long ago, and these kids are heads and tails beyond anything we could have imagined. And we thought we were pretty awesome back in the day. And these kids are knocking it out of the park, literally and figuratively. So yes, definitely kudos to them on the different programs, the different things that they've got going. It's very impressive.
Anything else? Then I would entertain a
Motion to adjourn?
motion to adjourn. Second.
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
I guess we're adjourned.
We are adjourned. Our work here is done today.